Good morning, how are you all doing? Morning, Dalibor. Morning, Ladder. Morning, Diamond. Look at US dollar yen. Morning, Jeff. US dollar yen. For what? Sell? Morning, David. You're a bit late. It was Asia, the sell on that. You could sell it. I wouldn't want to be long term on it though. Do you really want to sell something that's just done that? I'd be looking for spots to buy it. Yes, it could get down here. It could go from here. Could go from anywhere. It could return to origin and then bounce. I don't know, but I'd be more inclined to hit the buy button. Morning, Shout. Morning, Trevor. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't really. I wouldn't want to sell anything US dollar at the minute. I'd be buying everything US dollar. Morning, Peter. We'll have a look at all the US dollar pairs. We'll have a look at everything US dollar and index based this morning because obviously the inflation figures pumped the US like crazy yesterday. So we'll see what we can make of it. But yeah, if you want to get in short, get in short. If you're trading M5, then yeah, if you're trading M5, you've already taken the trade and taken your profit, haven't you? If you're getting in M5 now, you've missed the move and you're getting in late. Remember that? You probably don't know. You haven't seen it, but there's a bell curve of traders. You're getting in here. This is where you should have got in. So you got that much left, potentially. Yeah. So you might get a move down to ADR, but that might be all you've got left. Equally, it could come down here. But yeah, I mean, you're taking if you're using a stop and you're trading M5, then it doesn't really matter where you get in, does it? You've got 50-50 short of the trade working, so just take it. But yeah, this morning was the opportunity really on these yens. But yeah, see where it goes. Might do, might not. Right, just a quick recap of yesterday. Obviously, yesterday was mental. Loads of trades yesterday. 13th. So I closed out. That was a loss. That was an aggressive position I took yesterday on Euro New Zealand. We started to turn quite aggressively on M15. So I took that entry there. Look at my stop out this morning on that. Was that the right trade, actually? Hang on. There's two. No, that's not the right one. It's that one. All right, there's two positions there. That was the one from yesterday. So we turned, looked like we were maybe doing a liquidity run of yesterday's high. So I got stopped out on that one, which is fair enough. And then last night, right at the end, I took a short as we started to roll over. Basically, what I was looking for was New Zealand dollar to have a strong Asian session, which it didn't really do anything. But I got stopped out. Obviously, the spread on New Zealand dollar pairs is awful. My stop was above the high up here, as you can see. It got nowhere near my stop, but they spread me out anyway. Not a lot I can do about that. And now it's coming back down again. So I've just added that position back on here. We just got a reversal alert on M15. So I've just added that aggressive short back on again, hoping that is the last run. So I'm looking basically, as soon as they're sweeping yesterday's highs, one of these yesterday's high sweeps is going to work. I don't know which, but that looks like a pretty nice stop run to me. 3-bar reversal. So yeah, I have another crack at it up there. Hence me having a loss this morning, 0.73, which is this. There's quite a big stop on it, unfortunately. There's nothing I could do about the stop distance. It's just what it is. So it's quite an aggressive position, and obviously didn't work out this morning, so had to get out of that one. Slight loss. But yesterday made 1.2. As you'll see, the vast majority of that was on this monster, the DAX. So all these positions yesterday were very nice, profitable trades. Quite a few DAX positions yesterday. So yeah, all good. I got out obviously far too early on it. There's one in there as well somewhere. It's very difficult when you get these massive interest rate moves to tell where something is going to stop. We get 300, as we had yesterday, we get 300% ADR moves on interest rates and inflation figures, etc. So you can never really, tell where they're going to turn. We had 3 nice big strong down bars, which I rode down, had TPs on trailers, which got me out as we pushed back up, and then we pushed down a little bit further. So I missed roughly half the move, but you can't tell. I got out with a profit because I needed to get out and take profit, and I did exactly that. So happy with the trade. I'm still in it, still got positions on. I've got one in profit here, which I'm holding at the moment. This one could well go into drawdown today. We might well come back up and retest this origin. I don't know. I think there's a good chance we might come up and try this 100% ADR move today. Equally, the market just may wake up and collapse again, which is not unheard of. We'll have a look at the US indices in a minute, but the US indices had their biggest loss in 2 years yesterday, 4% and 5%. So that was a big move. But obviously the DAX is not the US index, so that didn't have such a big loss. But when you're dealing buckets of stocks, they all move at the same time. So if somebody's selling the energy sector, the DAX contains energy stocks. It's going to come down at the same time. So that was the DAX. I closed out some Euro New Zealand. That was the day before, sorry. Swiss yen. There. So I closed out Swiss yen. That was that nightmare scalp. I posted this one in the Telegram group. I had a short entry here under this low, and I had a stop just above the high. I got filled on the news, just before the news, I got filled. And I was like, brilliant, I've got filled. Nice distance between me and my stop. News came out, and it completely slipped my stop and stopped me out up there. So I took a $500 loss because that is where I said I wanted to get stopped out, and that is where the liquidity was. And then we had this big conversation in Telegram about how I should be phoning up and complaining, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, that's the market. I signed a contract with my broker, and I've agreed with my broker that they can fill me at any price they desire, even if it blows my account in one trade. Go and check your contracts, guys. You have signed a contract with your broker to take every penny you have in your account, which is why I say don't put all of your money in your account. Because legally binding contract says that they will fill you at the best available price. Nobody can prove what the best available price was there. That's where they said it was, and that's where I got filled. Simple as that. You can argue until you're blue in the teeth. Blue in the teeth? Blue in the face with your brokers. But that's what your contract says, and that's what you're doing. So you're trading a contract for difference here. You're not trading market price. You are trading their best representation of market price. It's a contract for the difference in price between the market and what they are supplying you. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. There's no point in complaining about these things. You won't get anywhere. So yeah, got slipped up to there, which made $500 of loss, unfortunately. But I got all that back and more on the DAX, which is why I ended up positive yesterday. I took 2 US dollar trades as well the previous day. A load of ADR hits on the ends this morning. Why didn't I take pound yen? Anyway, so again, I got out way too early. This was enough. This was over. This was about 0.75% profit here. I took it. Yeah, one entry. 0.75% profit. Thank you very much. I had no idea whether this was going to be a spike and retracement or what it was going to be. So I got out and it carried on as it does. And same with the Aussie US, my short. I got out down here. We started to pause. So, you know, when you see a candle like that, it's time to get out. The likelihood is we're going to get some kind of reversal or pullback. You don't know if it's going to be a pullback. You don't know if it's just going to be a reversal, accumulation, or what it's going to be. The fact of the matter is, are you happy with the profit? Yes, I was. I took it. Simple as that. It's the hardest thing in the world to do, take profits. I've added back onto these this morning. So the market reversal alerts EA is running, obviously, for me. I've added pound New Zealand on this morning. I'll go through the trades in a minute, but obviously Aussie US, I've got that running. We had another reversal alert this morning, so it's got me back in again. Same on the US dollar CAD. We had a reversal alert this morning, so the EA's got me back in, so I'm long again. This could well go into drawdown. They might retrace this, they might not. I don't know. But with moves like this, quite often what you will see is an orphaned move here. It's best to look at it on H1 or H4. H4 probably. These massive propulsion gaps you get on these big moves. Yeah, we've got one here. Yeah, they will either get retested or they won't. So the Swiss one is a good example. Let's look at the pound Swiss. Yeah. So this is the Swiss franc rate announcement. Yeah. They did not retest it. They just went. Yeah. So that is exactly what we could have happening on the US dollar this morning, which is why I'm happy to get into the US dollar again with the EA. If they come back and retest, I'll add and wait for the leg to start. If they don't, I'm in now. So it doesn't matter to me, but I'm long US dollar after yesterday. So, but yeah, so that was yesterday. And obviously those 2 Euro New Zealand attempts at aggressive drawdown control, I got stopped out on, unfortunately. So I chucked away. This was 1.8, I think. So I lost a 0.6 on that one, something like that. Can't remember what it was exactly, but and I've lost 0.73 this morning. When there is obvious volatility, do you cancel, pause, pound? Obvious volatility, do you cancel or pause, pound? I don't understand the question, Frederick. I'm getting into the pound. I've just taken a couple of pound shorts. I'm actually going to get out of this pound Swiss. It's only $6-7 odd at the moment, so I'm just going to close that out. Pound Swiss. I don't want to be on the pound Swiss, I've decided. I want to be on the pound New Zealand. I put this in the Telegram group this morning. I wanted to get into some pound, basically. We've just had, obviously, the news this morning that the CPI figures are negative on the pound, which will probably pull the pound down. So I was looking for a pound to get into. I didn't want to take any more exposure on these, basically. So I was looking for something to get into, basically, and it was either pound yen or pound Swiss. I'm not happy about the yen still. The yen this is the one I should have got into this morning. Now I can see, but I couldn't see at the time, obviously, because I didn't know what the yen was going to do. But the yen's powering up this morning. Pound Swiss was the other option. Very, very, very massively extended down here. I don't like taking things when we're this extended. I mean, we're embedded on the 4 hour down here. I don't want to take a short there. Pound New Zealand, on the other hand, is very nice up at the 72 moving average with nice support, resistance coming up. So I've taken the short on this one. It does double expose me because I'm already short Euro New Zealand. So I'm now short pound New Zealand as well. So I have got double exposure now on the New Zealand, which is fine. But this is a much better spot to get in to a pound pair. So that's the one I've chosen. So I'm in that one short. Morning all. I hope you did not miss much. No, you haven't missed much. Shark, I had a sell limit order on pound yen. With the news, it grabbed my short entry and filled me at 168.192 instead of 167.80. You've got a difference in FX, TM, and AXI. Yeah, you will do. Don't forget, you're trading, like I say, you're trading a CFD, you're trading a contract with your broker. Brokers, people ask me about brokers all the time. Who is the best broker? There isn't one. All brokers, basically, their business model as a brokerage firm is to spend 50% of all profits they make on customer acquisition, because 60% of their customers blow their accounts within 60 days. Okay? So their business model is, they know for a fact every 60 days they have to replace 60% of their customer base. So their business model literally is to take as much money as possible by widening spreads, by manipulating price to grab stop orders and limit orders, and basically get as much money out of you as they can. Make money on the swaps by borrowing monies from banks against your deposits and all that sort of thing. What the business model for the broker is, every time Mr. Jones hits the buy or the sell button, we make X. That is their business model. Their job is to make you press that button as many times as they possibly can. And they will do that by whatever means they can muster. There is no difference. Use any broker you like. They're all the same. The business model is the same. Pick one. Doesn't matter. They're all going to use spread widening as a tactic. They're all going to give you different prices. They're all going to do different stuff. But at the end of the day, they are your enemy. Yeah, you are trading against your broker, not the market. The market is going to go where the market goes. When the market flies up, it will fly up. What your broker gives you as a price is going to be totally different on every single one, because they will have different things that they need to do. Like with me, that Euro New Zealand is a prime example. Yeah. Price didn't get there. Go and look at another broker. Another broker may have got there. Another broker may be here. I don't know. Doesn't matter. My broker took me out there because I used a stop. Why do you think I don't use stops? Why do I think I preach about not using stops? Because I didn't need to lose $300 this morning. Yeah? But it doesn't matter what you do. There will be a way of getting you. Yeah? So your job is to just be smarter than the broker. Be a better trader. Focus on that. Don't focus on throwing your toys out the pram when the broker spreads you. Like I got spread yesterday on the Swiss yen. I mean, this is just an unbelievable spread. Slippage. Look, I mean, the slippage is unreal. I said here, he said no here. That's because there was no liquidity pool available to the broker to fill the orders fast. These orders, when I hit the buy and the sell button here, the orders are happening in millionths of a second. Millisecond transactions. It's going out to the broker. The broker is then farming out to a dark pool. The dark pool is going out to different clearing houses and market makers, bringing that information back to the broker, who is then filling your order in milliseconds. This move, yeah, when someone entered long 200,000 lots in a bank, they just went, we'll have every single order in that block, please, to the dark pool. They jumped the queue ahead of every single retail broker and said, we'll have that lot. I got filled at the next available price that the broker could get filled at, which was there. It's not his fault. That's the business. That's the way it works. And this is what happens when you trade news, which is why I keep saying don't trade it. So, good lessons there overnight. I lost basically yesterday $800 because of 2 trades and I had no control over it. Unless I hadn't used a stop. If I hadn't used a stop, I'd be in profit on both of them now. But then again, that's why I keep preaching about using stops. But anyway, that's what happened yesterday. So, weird day yesterday. Shark closed out pound yen too early. Yeah. You see ADR, you haven't closed it out too early. But if you got out earlier than that, then yeah, I mean, you can never close something out too early. If you've got a profit, it's not too early to close it out, is it? Your job is to basically fill this up with green every day. Yeah? If you've done that, your job's done, isn't it? Job well done. That pound yen sell limit order was advanced drawdown entry. Nice. Excellent. Good job. Queen's death, big news. Still trade the pound. Frederick, the Queen's got nothing to do with the economy at all. Nothing to do with the pound. The Queen is a reigning monarch. She is not allowed to talk politics. She's not allowed to get involved in monetary policy. Well, she wasn't. Neither is the King. That doesn't make any difference whatsoever to the pound at all. Morning, Jane. This time around, slippage worked in my favour. Yeah, in your favour, yeah. So Shafts has said, for every time you take a trade that does this, you will take another trade that does it. Have you ever complained to your broker? Right. Let's play this example, right? And this is why it annoys me when people say, "Oh, I'm going to phone my broker and I'm going to moan at them because they slip me out." If you had taken a long here, right, and you had a TP there, and your TP got filled there, would you phone your broker and go, you filled me at totally the wrong price. I wanted to be filled down there, but you filled me up there. You've given me an extra $300. Would you do that to your broker? No. So don't expect your broker to bend over backwards when you tell them the opposite's happened, because you will get positive slippage and you will get negative slippage. We only ever moan about the negative slippage. Yeah. It works both ways. The broker's sitting there going, "Oh, for God's sake, the liquidity pool only managed to fill everybody up there. We just lost 25 grand, guys." You think they're going to phone you up and say, "Really sorry, we overfilled you. Can we have our money back, please?" It doesn't work that way, so why should it work the other? Yeah. So don't moan about it. Get on with it. It's part of trading. Doesn't matter which broker you pick, you're going to get slippage. It's part of, and this is another reason back testing doesn't work. Yeah. You will get slipped a lot. You will get spread out a lot. When you're back testing in Strategy Tester, you set the spread, right? So whatever you want to set the spread at, that isn't real. That's not happening in real life. Yeah, you're going to get this sort of stuff is going to make a big difference. Do you think my back testing on that trade on Swiss yen yesterday would have taken that $500 loss into account? No, because he didn't get there. It would have taken a loss for me of $200. Yeah, this, you got to be real with this market. It's not a happy place. Professor Kuda, I had a buy on NAS and stop loss at 12,810 was closed at 12,695. Yeah. Yeah. Just part of life. Same with futures, yeah. The futures, God, you should have seen the futures yesterday. I was watching the futures when the news came out. If you'd have had a pending order with a trailing stop in futures yesterday, you would have lost your account and they'd be phoning you up this morning saying, "You owe us." Yeah, because that thing moved so fast yesterday. There was so many contracts dumped, literally thousands of. I've never seen the ticker light up with 1,000 contracts before. Yesterday it lit up with multiple thousands. It was unbelievable. You'd have got slipped to death yesterday in futures. I wouldn't trade. I didn't trade yesterday in futures. Stupid. I should have done. It would have been lovely. Once the move started, you could have made a fortune yesterday. There's lots of posts all over the groups of everybody going, "Look how amazing I am." Yeah, lucky trade. You had a 50-50 shot on it going up or down. You made it. Well done. But anyway, I trade on app of my broker. Can't get in at all on desktop. Generally, when I get in and press the button. Don't know. Need to contact your broker about that one. Morning, Alan. Right, so that was me yesterday. So basically, I still have positions on DAX short. So I've got 3 positions short on the DAX. We're having a little bit of a pullback at the minute. I have Aussie US, just taken another position on that this morning. Yes, this could well pull back somewhere into the propulsion gap. I suspect it probably will, but it could well continue its rally today. We'll see. I don't know. But I've got a position on. If it moves couple of ADR. It's not going to be quick. Euro New Zealand, I've still got that on, obviously, just taking aggressive positions on this, trying to get an aggressive on this to try and get just get some drawdown control done. I can't. This Euro's just driving me up the wall at the minute. So that's the main thing I'm battling with at the moment. US dollar CAD, just taking another long on that one. And pound New Zealand, first short this morning. So that's me exposure wise. Right, ADRs today. Whoops. Yens. So overnight we had Biden lying. I'm not concerned about inflation. You should be, mate. We weren't expecting that. And now your bank's got to increase rates and make everybody even poorer. I'd be worried about inflation if I were you. Yen, we had some positive news come out of Japan overnight. We had orders increases on manufacturing and machinery. So a lot of Japanese economy is based on export and manufacturing, and that is basically up, not just up, but very up. So positive economic news coming out of Japan at last, but not necessarily something that is going to change the monetary policy, which is still poor. But we have got positive news. So we should be seeing, I haven't looked at all of them, but we should be seeing some yen strength this morning. I know the pound yen's coming down, but I don't know whether that's because of the pound or the yen at the minute. But apart from that, there's a lot of talk about intervention now. There's a lot of mumblings coming out of Japan. So basically the movement, if we've got that movement on the yen, is basically because of speculative plans to hold a doorstep at 6.15. Bank of Japan Suzuka plans to hold a doorstep at 6.15. Sorry, what? I have no idea what that means. We are ready to take necessary steps if the Forex move continues without ruling out any options. Okay, so yeah, so there's a lot of positive talk coming out. So Aussie dollar yen, CAD yen, Swiss yen, we've got ADRs across the board. So that is all the positive news off the yen. So yeah, so we've got some movement starting on these yen pairs now. There's obviously nothing in stone as yet. So I don't know whether they will introduce any changes, but for any of you that have been in yen shorts, you've got a little bit of respite coming now. So aggressive positions, hopefully you've got on. If not, wait for a pullback and potentially you might be able to get another one on this afternoon. But yeah, big moves down on the yen pairs, which is great. Aussie looks weak this morning. Oh, brilliant, that was New Zealand dollar is going to be weak, which is why this Aussie New Zealand isn't working. This Euro New Zealand. This is why I can't get out of this Euro New Zealand. Stopped out again this morning. Jesus. Things driving me up the wall. Yeah, this is not Euro. This is New Zealand dollar week this morning. God, if it's not one thing, it's the other. This is the trade from hell at the minute. Literally, they're taking it in turns. Euro's pumping. Euro stops pumping. New Zealand pumps. Then they stop. Then the Euro pumps. So all I'm getting is literally pump after pump after pump. And everything I do basically is pumping against me. I can't do anything about it. So Euro New Zealand just stopped out again. Wiped out yesterday's profit. But yeah, literally can't get a break on this Euro New Zealand at the minute. That pound New Zealand obviously will be going straight into drawdown as well. That's taken this morning. But this is not the pound, this is the New Zealand dollar. So nothing much I can do about that one. So here's your ADRs. Oops, hit. There's a few of those this morning, all yen based. We've got some euros hitting as well, euro odd. So we're getting all the odd pairs lighting up now as well. Pound odd, euro odd. All the New Zealands will probably light up in a minute as well. They're all going to hit ADRs. So massive sell-off on all the Asian pairs this morning. Yen, Aussie, New Zealand. yen strength rather, and Aussie New Zealand weakness. Lots of movement across all of those pairs. RSIs, we've got quite a few hits on those. I'm going to go through those in a second. But I just wanted to start off with looking at the impact of yesterday's rate announcement. So news-wise today, we've got PPI this afternoon. So this is going to be another key indicator for the US dollar. So the consumer price inflation and then the producer's price inflation are the two main key monitors of inflation. And inflation is the key factor that the banks take into account when they are calculating what they're going to do with interest rates. So these two figures will be the main driver between interest rates. Interest rates were forecast to be 0.5 for FOMC next week. They've gone up to 0.75 as a guarantee, and now we're talking about 1%. So with the figures yesterday, and obviously with the amount of money that was knocked off the stock markets yesterday, sorry, that's the wrong one. There is talk of 1% increases next week. If this comes out as positive today, we're forecasting negative 0.1, as we were with that, and 0.3. So it's all the same. If this comes out more, we're going to get a second push. So we really need to pay attention to this afternoon at 1:30, because there's a likelihood that we're going to get a big move. I'm toying with the idea. I was talking about that E8 firm, the prop firm, where you can pass in one day. I'm going to sign up for a new account with them this afternoon ahead of this, and I'm literally just going to short the indices ahead of the news. Basically that'll just hit target. So it's worth another $300 purchase of the prop firm account, and then literally it's going to be one trade and out today. If this comes out as positive, if it comes out as negative, obviously I'll blow the account and won't win. So it's a gamble. But with these figures, if you look at the CPI figures historically, we get lots of positives, and these don't always go in alignment. So if you look at the last ones that we had in, where's that? It's August on there as well, yeah. So August was a negative, then we had a positive, 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 neutral. August was a negative, positive, neutral, neutral, positive. So we can't say for sure that these will reflect what happened with CPI. So there's no real confluence. But if one is a lot worse than the other, then that does tend to follow suit. This is only a 0.2 and a 0.3 change, but that's quite significant in this current climate. These 0.1s and 0.2s and 0.3s are quite impactive, as we saw yesterday. So if we get a 0 here, I think we're going to get another push on the US dollar and another drop on the indices. We don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but I would suspect we may well see a second push, which is why I've let the EA take these additional positions for me rather than turning the EA off. I've let it get me into some more US dollar because I think there's a good chance that we might get a second push on these. And obviously now I've just got to get that bloody loss back today from Euro New Zealand. So I'm anticipating that happening. I'm holding on to my DAX because the DAX will come down as well. So that's what potentially we're going to see. Oil yesterday reacted negatively, as you can see. Not massively. We're still moving up, but there was a negative reaction to it and nothing particularly dramatic. But you will probably find oil gets a little bit weaker as well if we do get that additional move today. So just be aware of that if you're trading nasty oil, who I'm not talking to anymore. So looking at the indices, DAX was obviously the, what did we get yesterday on the DAX? 500 on a 294, so about 150, something like that. So obviously we had the negative move on the DAX. We should see this continue, but the main driver of the negative move on the DAX was obviously the US stock market. So all the US stock market had loads wiped off of it. We lost 4% on S&P, we lost 5% on the NASDAQ, and these are the biggest drops. If you look at the daily, these are the biggest drops we've had for 2 years. So this is a monster candle. You know, I said yesterday I'm looking for a pullback. Oh, did we get it? Next leg starting, and the next leg, when you look at leg reversals, the first proper move of the leg tends to be a biggie. This is the biggest one we've had for 2 years. So following these, you tend to get a collapse starting. Yeah. All right. So I'm looking for short opportunities non-stop on this, and the pullbacks you're going to get on these things could be so slight. You know, use a support rectangle. If you get to support rectangle, it's worth a shot. If you get to any propulsion gap, no, that's not really a propulsion gap. That's a propulsion. Not really a propulsion gap either. I'd probably look at hourlies. That one is. Obviously, that is. So yeah, you could see something like that today. We had 4 days of increase wiped off the market. So we opened there, we pushed up day 1, pushed up day 2, pushed up day 3, 4. We started to push up day 5, and yesterday we came straight back down pretty much to where we started. We were 26 pips away. 5 days worth of climbing erased in 1 day. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the market isn't happy at the moment. So looking for shorts across all indices. The question is going to be, are we going to get a V-shaped recovery, or are we going to get an accumulation drop? That's the big question. So I suspect on a move of this strength, the market isn't going to be able to unravel that. Yeah. There's a lot of fear in the market now. And the last thing people are going to want to do is buy cheap stocks. So I get the feeling that we will see one of two things happening today. Either we will just get an accumulation drop and not make any progress whatsoever, or we will get a flag. Could get a flag as high as an ADR, possibly. I don't think there's going to be enough buyers in the market to make that. So I would be looking at a flag somewhere up to there and maybe a drop from there. But ignore this thing today. Not interested. There's the RSI, all indicators go out the window on a fundamental like that. So today, obviously we're waiting until 1:30. 1:30 is when the news is coming out. So the market isn't going to be interested in any big moves, I don't think, this morning. We're just going to see the Globex session go sideways. And then 1:30, we will get that move. Now, that move could be one of two things. It could be a corrective move, or it could be a next leg. We don't know. So there is a possibility that we will get some manipulation off of the news, which is a fake move. So if you see those numbers coming out as positive and you see the market rally on positive numbers, that is likely going to be a fake move. And they're just basically taking a move to entice longs, and then they'll grab the lot with a short move. So just be aware this afternoon, we may see some manipulation. The PPI figures are nowhere near as important as the CPI figures, but they are still a massive indicator. You usually find, as I say, they follow more than they don't, but they're not that much in sync, because if you think about it, this is the producers index. Producers make things for consumers. So if the consumer index is doing one thing, the producer index is the leader that makes the CPI happen. Yeah, people manufacture stuff, sell it to consumers. If the price that consumers are paying going up, normally it's because the prices of the producers have gone up. Think about farming, or think about energy at the moment. Wholesale has increased their prices by 5. What have our bills done? Gone up by hundreds of percent. Yeah, but it haven't gone up because our suppliers have done that. It's gone up because the wholesale distributors of energy have charged more for it. Yeah, so this is the wholesale distributors. This is us, or the people that sell to us, rather. So that's what we need to concentrate on this afternoon. And obviously that is going to make moves across the entire market. It will affect the US dollar, obviously, and it will affect all the indices, and you'll find everything else will be affected with it as well. We saw the euro spiking yesterday. So money, if people want to short, they have to pull money out of other things, like they'll pull money out of this lot and pump it into that. So therefore you'll see all this change because the money's been redistributed into different areas, which is mainly the hedge funds. So that's the US dollar. Obviously, same thing. You're going to be looking at all three of these. You're virtually looking at exactly the same thing, mirror images. The DAX is its own entity. It's not affected by CPI and PPI for the US as much, obviously, because it's not the US. It's not tracking US stocks. It's tracking German stocks. But German stocks are affected by US stock buckets, if you like. So sector purchasing. There are stocks in here in all sectors. So if the tech sector pumps, part of this will be pumping. If the oil sector dumps, part of this will be dumping. So it will be affected, but to a lesser extent. So if you want to trade this afternoon, the DAX is not the best vehicle. You're going to get much bigger moves on the US indices than you will on the DAX. I'm in the DAX. That's what I'm trading, so that's what I'm using at the moment. But if I didn't have any DAX on, and I will be scalping on another account in this, not scalping, I'll be taking a position on it and see if we can get some money. I'm not doing it with my funded accounts. I'm doing it with a new one because it's a big gamble. I'm basically flipping a coin. I think it's got more chance of landing on tails than heads, but at the end of the day, this could go either way when that news event comes out. So we will see. So yeah, indices, obviously big drop there. And there's every chance that we're going to get one of these. Yeah, we'll get another 200%er, 150%er or something this afternoon. So, when we start to go, we start to go. The market will be scared and the market will be evacuating after a move like that. But, equally, we get the odd rest day after that because the market is shocked. But today's rest day has got major news. So I don't think we're going to get a rest. The only other thing we've got to look out for is New Zealand GDP. Right for big numbers on GDP, please. I need some strength in the New Zealand dollar. Yeah. Hopefully we get some positive news out of Asia. If we can have positive figures off of the Aussie as well, that'd be lovely because that'll drag the New Zealand dollar with it. So I'm looking for positive news overnight in Asia. Hopefully wake up to some profit tomorrow and some help with my Euro New Zealand. But we'll see. Right, let's have a look at the RSIs. Just trying to find a place to get in aggressive on this again. Oops. I'm just going to put another aggressive position on. Spread is awful. I have to take more risk on this, another 0.5%. I need to get one on this short. Just see what the other euros are up to. Yeah, euro's not particularly strong this morning. just this New Zealand dollar. So I'm going to get a short there. The only reason I put that there is we may find this propulsion gap acts as resistance. That's the reason I'm not taking the reverse alert on M5. I'm just putting my entry down there in case we get a reaction there, and I will trail this stop basically. If we push up further today, I will just keep trailing this entry, the stop entry under, until we get that move. We're extended now. I'm just looking for a pullback. Just didn't get that pullback from yesterday. That was where I was expecting the pullback to come. We didn't get it. Right, RSIs. So Aussie dollar Swiss, very, very extended to the downside. I'm not interested in longs on this at the moment. It's very, very, very extended, as we can see. So last time we got the extension, we got a bit of a pullback straight up into resistance, and then we pop back down again. We're back down here, very high chance that we're going to get a pullback. But Aussie dollar is very, very weak this morning. Swiss franc is doing okay at the moment. It's neutral to strong. So I think this is obviously a bad mean reversion opportunity at the moment. So I'm not interested really. It's a very, very, very long distance from the 24 moving average. When we get down to these levels, you will typically either get a pause or a pullback. Yeah, so there was, for example, we were 200 odd pips away, 170 odd away now. This move is coming. When, obviously, is the age-old problem we can't time. We've got this accumulation here that we're likely to come and stop in. So it's likely you will get a trade out of it. I'm just not, I mean, I'm loaded now, my exposure, so I can't take anything really. But yeah, it's extended, very extended on the hourly, very extended on the 4 hourly, but it's coming down very, 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 very hard at the moment. So I'd be a bit worried about taking one down here after that accumulation on the previous move down. So there is a chance that you might get that or that. Those are the worst case scenarios. Best case scenario, obviously, we do get the pullback to the 24. But not particularly interested in that one. If it gets more extended and we start to see, us getting up into this sort of area, then I might get a little bit more interested in it. But it's obviously going to depend on my exposure, and my exposure is going to be determined this afternoon by the news. So we'll see what happens with it. But it's getting there, but it is obviously counter trend. CAD Swiss, same thing. It's counter trend at the moment against the Swiss franc. This is a good example of, I was saying about propulsion gaps don't get filled. This is equivalent to what we had yesterday on the US dollar. When it's a fundamental shift like that, you quite often will not get those retraced into. These are the ones that get orphaned. So we are at the moment doing a liquidity run and holding up down here very nicely. So this looks like it might be in a spot where you're going to get a bounce. I say it's counter trend. Obviously, this is moving down, but it's a very, very shallow slope. So there is a good chance that we'll get some strength off the Canadian dollar. We need some decent oil news, really, or something positive to come out that's going to help. We might get some positive movement off of this if the US dollar PPI figures come out as positive, because the CAD quite often will move with the US dollar. So there is a good chance that you might get a pump on this. Very, very nicely extended. It's one of the most extended things out there at the minute. So a good opportunity to go long. It doesn't fit me, obviously, at the moment. I'm short on the CAD on my US dollar CAD position, but that's based on US dollar, really. So there's a good chance you might get a long out of that one, CAD Swiss. It's in a good spot. I like things that are massively extended and reached for liquidity areas, because you've got a very good chance that liquidity is all going to get bought up and go. So yeah, very, very good long opportunity where we are now. So, CAD Swiss, good for longs, and very extended. We're below the 20 now. Don't think we're going to get much more of an extension than that. So where it's going, though, is obviously the unknown. Swiss yen started to move at last. Obviously, I took the short on this one yesterday, and I would now be nicely in profit. I said, I'd put the stop there. I don't normally trade with stops, as you know. I took that because of the Swiss yen and the way the yen is moving. I did not want to enter position on it. If I'd have entered a position trade on it, I'd be absolutely fine now. But after a move like this, it was always going to come down hard at some point. But I'm not sure if this is it. This is all speculative talk that's coming out of Japan at the moment. They still need to do something. Yeah, I can say I'm going to do whatever I like. Until I actually do it, it means nothing. But you will get a lot of speculative moves starting, which is what we seem to be happen at the moment. But these can also turn into just accumulations and then pushes. So just be careful with all these yens. Scalp them with stops by all means. It could come down, but I'd be much more interested in that at the moment until the Bank of Japan comes out and says something. We are doing this, and this is going to have this effect moving forward. They need a fundamental shift in their monetary policy to be able to strengthen it against everything at the moment. And until that comes out, until that is here, this means nothing. Yes, you're concerned about the excessive volatility. Of course you are. You're stuffed. You're on your knees. Who wouldn't be? It's like being in debt. If you got 25, 30,000 in debt and the interest rates go up, yeah, you're going to be concerned. What are you going to do about it? Well, I'm just going to sit here and hope it gets better. Basically, that's what Japan's stance is at the moment. So can't see any forward movement until they say they're going to do something. So all these yens that are extended are, there's a very good chance of a pullback. We know that when we get this extended, the market has to breathe, it has to take profit. But the size of the profit take is dependent on the market's stance and whether or not they want to add on. I would say there is a very good chance of us getting back down to here at some point. And that's where I'd look to long it unless there's been a fundamental shift. But I can see this sort of thing happening on these yen pairs. And, it's just not something I want to really get involved in. Euro New Zealand, my stance on this. I'm in it. I'm stuck in it. And it's completely flying. Massively weak New Zealand dollar. Euros had a bit of a pump and stuck at the moment and dealing with it. So every single one of these hits is the opportunity for a large profit take move, and that's what I'm waiting for. I just need a good ADR hit to get out of some of this and deal with some of the DD. But just waiting at the moment on that one. Pound Swiss, long counter trend. Your choice. I'm just not interested in counter trend at the moment. Could get up to there. Could come back and test the 24. But that's more likely going to be with an accumulation drop than a pullback. So I'm not interested personally in longing Pound Swiss at the moment. Pound New Zealand, I'm just in that one. So we're nicely extended to the upside. Been looking for opportunities to short the pound. The New Zealand is the weaker at the moment. And obviously the pound's managed to take advantage of that. We're coming up to some decent support resistance areas where we're likely to get some market reaction. And we are extended. So if it pushes higher and gets up to ADR, then we're going to be even more extended. So I'll just scale in and wait for that short to come. We've also got the rate announcement next week. We've just had the inflation figures drop. So the chances of a change in rates next week are slight. We still haven't got our forecast, which is annoying. That's not right anymore. That should be now 3.25. I would say with 90% certainty, that's at least what we're going to get, if not 3.5. Yeah, we haven't got our forecast yet. We should be looking 2.25, I think, at least, maybe 2.5. But obviously, everything is data driven, and we've just had inflation drop. Now, this inflation drop on the pound is not necessarily indicative of what is actually happening in the market. The real CPI figure that we want to pay attention to is next month, which is October's. And the reason being is because this drop here has mainly been fueled by a drop in fuel pricing. What we're going to see in October is the price cap on energy coming into effect, and that is going to have a real impact on inflation. So the real inflationary impact I think we're going to need to worry about is next month. And that will, of course, be impacted by what is done with these rates. So this is a key one. And I get the feeling that they aren't going to be too aggressive with this one because they've seen that figure come down. So they'll be like, well, maybe we're getting on top of it. But it's not really a proper inflation figure because we haven't had the cap come in on the energy yet. So I reckon next month CPI figures could be slightly lower. If they get more aggressive here, that will definitely, I think, happen. So the pound is in a real sort of tentative spot at the moment where it could go either way. So at the moment, I'm shorting it until the inflation figures come out next next month. I think the interest rate figures will come out as expected next week, and I don't think the market will particularly be happy or sad about that. And I think we're just going to see a little bit of chop happen over the next month on the pound. I don't think there's going to be much directional bias on it. So I'm inclined to stay short at the moment, and obviously any extensions to the upside on the pound I'm basically getting into. So that's why I've taken the pound New Zealand. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Yeah, New Zealand dollar is not very well at the moment, as we can see. I don't, not really interested in longing anything New Zealand at the moment. It's coming down hard, especially New Zealand dollar Swiss. So we looked at Aussie dollar Swiss. Dangerous long. New Zealand dollar Swiss is the same thing against the Swissy, massively extended. So this is really, really extended, and we've got a good chance of getting a pullback, at least up to sort of the support rectangle there. So I think you've got a good chance of a reversal happening on this one. We do seem to be bottoming out at the moment, but it could well just embed itself. Go sideways, allow the RSI to grind up. They're very similar to what we've seen. Yeah. Sideways, drop, sideways, drop, sideways, drop. That could continue. Just not doing very well at the moment, New Zealand dollar. Hence me being stuck in the the Euro New Zealand dollar at the moment. But it is very extended. So if you're one of those type of people that wants to take ballsy counter trends, mean reversions, then yeah, do it. You've got plenty of room. You've got big propulsion gap followed by big propulsion gap on the 4 hour. There's a very high probability they're going to come back and test this area. Whether or not enough sellers step in to drive the next leg down or not, you won't know until you get there. But it's very extended. It's stalling out. We've put a double bottom in. And on M5, you would have just had a reversal alert on that, I should imagine. Oops. Not yet. So just about to get one in a minute. If you want to take a stop loss trade, obviously, stop under yesterday's low. Don't go there. Go down here somewhere. In fact, go down here somewhere because of the spread on this New Zealand dollar. Give yourself some... Always take this spread into account. Got 20 spread on it. So, that's where you're going to get spread to. If this double bottoms, the spread's going to be there. You need to be down here somewhere with your stop. So yeah, looks good for potential long opportunity, but obviously you are massively counter trend on this. So, you know, that's what I'm interested in at the moment on New Zealand Swiss and New Zealand US. Obviously, it's come down like a house of cards. I wouldn't want to be getting the other way on the US dollar at the moment. So obviously the US dollar, we had that massive move to the upside. US dollar CAD, you know, I took the US dollar CAD trade there because we were extended in an uptrend in the 24.72 zone, which is my favorite area. It played out very, very quickly. I left half of it on the table, but you know, there's a good possibility of a pullback, but bullishness. I get the feeling we might go for the highs today. And if we do, I will be taking off up here. But equally, we could just flag and wait for the 24 to catch up and go from there. It's difficult to tell with these events. You either get that A-shaped recovery or you get the flag or accumulation push. Don't know which, but you know, I'm taking a position, bias long, and I will deal with it whichever of those happens. But just because we've got the news coming out today, there's a good chance that we're going to get that massive secondary push if we get these figures coming out positive today. So we will see. But good opportunities out there at the moment. Across the board. What's happening with the indices? Still putting back at the minute on the indices. Not happy though. Look, DAX, I mean, it's the open looks like it wants to do that. Good looking short right now. And that potentially. But you know, it's always difficult to trade these because you know, your heart is saying and your mind is saying from a technical perspective, normally when this happens, we pull back to retest and then get a second leg started. But equally, I've seen so many times it just go like that. You know, look at the daily chart for clues. Yeah. What, you know, whenever you see something abnormal, look at when things like this have happened before. Yeah, there's a prime example of the pullback. Massive drop, 3-day pullback, continuation. Big drop, rest today, continuation. Big drop, 2-day pullback, continuation. Big drop, big drop, big drop, gap, big drop, continuation. You know, there's so many things that can happen, and you just have to think in your head, what scenarios am I looking at? What am I looking for? Where are we now? So if we're going to pull back probably 50%, I want to get in at 50% and start going short there. I've already got one there. Or we're going to get this scenario playing out. So this wick here is this pullback that we're seeing now, and the day could end like that. So candle would be drawn like that. Yeah. So you got to try and think about what you're going to see. What do you want to see painted on the daily chart, and plan your trade around that. Good spot to be potentially selling if we're going to go for that type of candlestick today. Right now is where you want to sell, and you want to hold it until we get back down to these lows. Equally, if we're going to have a rest today, we could just do that. And that's the high, that's the low, and we're going to have one of these. Don't know, no idea what's going to happen today. But I do know that we've got major news this afternoon, and if that major news comes out as anything but forecast, we're going to get volatility. And the volatility direction is going to be designated by whether this goes plus or minus. And that's the thing, obviously, that drives the market, and we can't tell. So, but just plan. You know, if the market's already positioned itself up here ahead of the news, quite possibly going to get that, aren't we? But I'm looking short today regardless. So And look at the US indices. Last time we had a massive candle like this. We haven't had one this big. That's body on that is 6. Yeah, 700, much bigger. Difficult to tell, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, there's all of this climbing we could potentially do as a flag during the Globex session, or we see that, or we just get this wick, and this is it. This is the wick. Now, who knows? But just try and visualize it. Yeah, it's quite handy, and a lot of traders do this. They will have open the daily chart, and then they'll be trading M5, M15, or whatever time frame they trade intraday. You can see if you think we're going to do a 50% pullback today, it's going to be 125 ADR. So start paying attention to shorts when we're up here, and think, right, if we're going to put in a shooting star, I want to be shorting at 125. Always got to try and visualize where you're going on the day when you're trading intraday. It's very, very, very helpful. That's all I've got today, really. Anybody got any other things they wanted to have a look at? Any other pairs they want to have a look at? I mean, what you trade today is going to be very much dictated by this afternoon, obviously. So, that was a good short, wasn't it, this morning? Pound New Zealand. If anybody's in anything that they're interested in analysis on, obviously just let me know. But I have nothing else for you this morning. I went through all the pairs yesterday briefly, but today's the aftermath. So as I said, quite possibly we're just going to be very, very quiet this morning until we get to this afternoon. US 30, I just covered that. Dow, it's all the same. Dow, Nasdaq, S&P, it's all the same stuff. Same chart, look. Flicking between 3 different instruments here, you're seeing the same thing. Doesn't matter, they're all the same stuff. Gold, I don't trade gold. It's a US dollar cross, so it's going to go the opposite way to the US dollar. Down. Looking for shorts. So same as the rest, if we get positive news on PPI this afternoon, we'll be taking a break to the downside. You are running into potential support here. So obviously need to be aware you might get out down here, but yeah, shorts. But it's the same as all the US pairs. Are we going to retrace into the propulsion gap or not? So, but you want to be looking to hit the sell button rather than the buy. It depends if you are, I don't know how you trade, but if you're position trading, take one here, add one here. If you're stop loss trading, you just want to go down and find an entry. There's an argument for a pending order, stopper by Asia at the moment today. If that gets triggered, you've got enough room down to support. So there's your support zone on gold. So if you get triggered on a short, there's not a lot of room actually, is there? Negative risk reward, it's not worth taking. But if those PPI figures come out unbelievably large, like 0.2 difference, for example, this is not going to come into a play. It's just going to come through there. It's just going to go through it. There'll be a lot of limit orders sitting here. There'll be a lot of buy limits down here, ready to buy up the bottom, but they will just get eaten and stopped immediately. They'll just be slammed through. Yeah, and there's nothing going to stop that movement It doesn't matter how many orders you've got in the market. Don't forget, when the market is moving, when the market makers are moving, they are looking to get orders filled. Wherever those orders are, they're just going to gobble them all up, and they'll stop when they've got enough. Their job is to execute those orders and get their clients' orders filled. And if they need to hedge using gold, although they don't usually hedge using gold, but I mean, if they need to hedge on any US cross, they will get those orders in, and they don't care where they get filled. Don't forget, hedges are long-term trades. They are 3-month, 6-month positions typically. US dollar yen's just hit ADR. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things when you're looking at a chart like the 4-hour here, whether you get in as a hedge there or there, doesn't matter. You're holding this position for 3 months, which is basically what you can see on the chart here: July, August, September. Yeah. So, you're looking at this much movement. Whether you get in there or there in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. You're dollar averaging anyway with a hedge. So your job is to keep that hedge on the customer's side. So with any US cross, a little bit of rejection this morning. So we'll see where we go. I get the feeling, like I say, we're going to have one of those, or maybe potentially a bit of a flag this morning. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. It's all going to be based around news, as I say. So when that's out the way, we've got retail sales tomorrow. So potentially more movement on the US dollar. It's the US dollar's week this week. We got pound retail as well on Friday. But yeah, all about the US this week. And then next week, it's all about the US. We've got FOMC next Wednesday. So again, massive movement. Also next week, we've got the SNB rate. And we've got the Bank of Japan monetary policy statement. So, and then obviously that, right, look at Thursday next week. My God. Look at this. FOMC, followed by Bank of Japan, followed by Swiss, followed by pound. That's a monster week next week. We've got loads of options expiries on Friday as well, so they'll be resetting their positions. This thing's going to go mental next week. So I think we can officially say summer is over. Right. So that's what I've got today. Anything you need, come in the Telegram group. I shall be in there if you need me. What did Bitcoin do yesterday? I shouldn't have. All the Bitcoin buyers in more pain. Yeah, I'll be in the Telegram group if you need me. Anything to do with strategy or indicators, whatever. Big charts in there if you want. Any positions I'm closing out or taking, I'm not going to really take any more. The EA is obviously running. The EA is going to be trading for me and getting me into positions as necessary. So I don't announce when I'm taking add-ons because obviously the EA is just doing that half an ADR apart. But any new positions I take, I'll obviously let you know about. Yeah, really, Euro New Zealand is my focus today. I need to start getting this. I've just got into that aggressive position. Look. So we've got that further drop on M5. Got that reversal alert. We've just broken. Well, this candle is, there we go. We have just broken support. That's good timing. So yeah, support's been broken and we're holding. So looking for a pullback, drop, or just even better, just drop. Just drop. New Zealand dollar. Stop mucking about. Yeah, some decent strength. A lot of weakness in the US dollar starting to show this morning as well. So we've probably see the indices maybe rising a little bit this morning. We'll see. As I say, we're either going to go like that or we're going to flag in preparation for a potential drop. And yeah, I will start a new EA evaluation today. And I will just get some positions ready before 1:30, some shorts on the indices, and hopefully get stage 1 passed this afternoon. And then we'll see what we can do tomorrow with the retail sales to pass stage 2. And then I should be funded on Friday. And then we'll know if E8 is a good prop firm or not. Anyway, I'll let you know on that. If I can get funded on the thing. Right. Good luck today. Anybody needs anything, I'll be in the Telegram group. Otherwise, see you tomorrow morning, same time, 7:50. And yeah, hope you have a good one.